Picture this. A man comes home after a long, just draining day at work. His dog greets him at the door, tail going a mile a minute, just pure joy, right? The same welcome he's gotten every single day for 3 straight years. But tonight, something inside him just snaps. He yells. Maybe he grabs the dog by the scruff, telling himself it's just discipline. Fast forward 2 weeks, the dog doesn't run to the door anymore. It flinches when he walks in. The tail is still. And, as our source material puts it, the man had no idea what he had broken, or if he could ever fix it.
You know, that heartbreaking story is playing out in millions of homes, and the scariest part? Most owners don't even realize they're the ones causing it. So are you accidentally doing things that are chipping away at your dog's trust? Today, we're going to dive deep into canine psychology to count down 10 things that, from your dog's point of view, are deeply damaging. Some of these are behaviors you might be doing every single day without a second thought. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this, because number 1 is the most common mistake of all, and it is genuinely shocking.
Okay, so before we can even start our countdown, we have to get on the same page about one critical thing: how your dog actually sees the world. And this goes way, way beyond just walks and treats. For over 15,000 years, evolution has shaped their brains to do one thing exceptionally well: read us. They are absolute masters of our emotional tells, decoding our tone and our body language with unbelievable precision. Now look at this. The difference here is just massive. We think about our voice in terms of volume, right? But for a dog, it is all about frequency. They can hear this whole spectrum of sound that is so much more sensitive and nuanced than ours. So it's not just that our voice is louder to them, it's like they're hearing us in high-definition audio and we're just in standard def.
So here's the takeaway, and this is crucial. When you raise your voice in frustration, your dog doesn't hear the words, "Stop chewing the shoe." They can't process that. What they feel is that piercing frequency, that intense energy. Study after study shows that dogs exposed to shouting have higher levels of cortisol. That's the stress hormone. So to their brain, it's not discipline at all. It's a genuine threat that puts their entire nervous system on high alert.
All right, with that foundation in place, let's start the countdown. We're going to kick things off with 5 behaviors that might seem kind of minor on the surface, but they act like a slow, steady leak in the bond you share with your dog.
Kicking us off at number 10 is constantly disrupting their personal space. See, a dog's world is mapped out by scent. The part of their brain that processes smell is, get this, proportionally 40 times larger than ours. Their bed, their crate, that one corner of the couch, these aren't just places to them. They are scent-soaked maps of safety. When we're constantly moving their things around or taking their spot, we're not just redecorating, we're literally erasing their map of security.
Coming in at number 9, interrupting their sleep. An adult dog needs like 12 to 14 hours of sleep a day, and that's not them being lazy, it's a neurological necessity. Just like us, dogs need REM sleep to consolidate memories and process all the day's emotions. Ever see them twitching or making little barks in their sleep? That's their brain hard at work. Waking them up over and over for a quick cuddle or a funny video actually disrupts that critical process, and it can lead to higher anxiety and even irritability.
At number 8, we have something that a lot of us overlook: neglecting basic grooming and health. And I'm not talking about vanity here. An estimated 80% of dogs over the age of 3 suffer from dental disease. That's not just bad breath. It's chronic, throbbing pain that they are instinctively wired to hide from us. The same thing goes for overgrown nails, which can mess up their posture and cause skeletal stress. They feel this constant discomfort even if they can't point and show you where it hurts.
Number 7 is using teasing as play. I know we've all seen it, the fake ball throw, over and over again. It might seem harmless, but neurologically it's anything but. Research shows this kind of frustrating, repetitive thing activates the same pathways in their brain as a real threat. It creates a state called learned helplessness, where their excitement is constantly met with disappointment, and that slowly teaches them that you are not a reliable partner.
And here we are at number 6, using aversive or inconsistent training methods. Now, this is one of the most heavily studied areas in canine behavior, and honestly, the science is overwhelmingly clear on this.
And this table just illustrates it perfectly. A huge study from the University of Porto found that aversive methods, leash yanks, shouting, any kind of physical punishment, they might suppress a behavior in the short term. But the long-term consequences are disastrous: elevated cortisol, a higher risk of aggression, and a totally fractured bond. And you know what's just as damaging? Inconsistency. A dog that's allowed on the couch one day and then punished for it the next isn't being stubborn. They're living in a constant state of confusion, and that confusion breeds really deep-seated anxiety. Okay, let's move into the second half of our list. We are now shifting from behaviors that slowly erode trust to actions that can create immediate, lasting fear. The stakes definitely get higher from here.
And number 5, rough play without clear boundaries. Look, dogs play with their mouths. It's totally natural. But when we humans encourage them to use our hands and feet as chew toys, we're teaching them a really dangerous lesson, that human skin is for biting. A little nip from a 10-pound puppy might seem cute, but that exact same behavior from a 60-pound adult is a serious problem. It dangerously blurs the line between play and aggression, a line that can be crossed in a split second of overstimulation.
Number 4 is especially relevant in our social media age, scaring them for fun or for a viral video. You've seen them. The dog getting startled by someone in a costume, or a sudden loud noise that's just engineered for a laugh. On one side of the camera, you have the human experience, a hilarious video that gets millions of views. But what is actually happening on the other side of that screen? What is the dog truly experiencing in that moment?
The camera doesn't show you this part. It doesn't capture the cortisol flooding their system. It doesn't show the lasting hypervigilance, where that dog now nervously scans its environment for the next unexpected threat. You haven't just pranked your dog. You've poisoned their one safe space, their home, and turned it into an unpredictable, threatening place.
Which brings us right back around to number 3, yelling directly at your dog. We've totally come full circle here. Remember that alarm siren we talked about at the beginning? Yelling is like a direct deposit into their fear account. It confirms that you, their primary source of safety and comfort, are also a source of unpredictable terror. It achieves nothing, and it damages everything.
At number 2, a controversial but really critical point, cosmetic procedures like tail docking and ear cropping. These are often defended as breed standards, but from a behavioral standpoint, they're amputations. They're amputations of essential communication tools. A dog's tail and ears convey incredibly nuanced emotions. Removing them is like robbing a person of their facial expressions, crippling their ability to talk to other dogs for their entire life.
And here we are, the number 1 mistake. This is, without a doubt, the most common behavior on this entire list. And the thing is, it almost always comes from a place of love and excitement, which is exactly what makes it so damaging. The number 1 mistake is forcing introductions. When a new person or a new pet comes into the home, our human instinct is to push everyone together right away for a greeting. But dogs are naturally neophobic. That's a fancy word for being cautious of new things. Their primary sense is smell. Forcing a face-to-face meeting before they can safely gather information through their nose bypasses their entire social protocol. It corners them, it overwhelms them, and it is a primary trigger for fear-based aggression.
So the whole point is to do it their way, the right way. Start with scent. Let them smell a blanket or a toy from the newcomer first, then allow them to see the new person or pet from a safe distance. And finally, and this is the most important step, give them the choice. Letting them decide when and if they close that distance is the ultimate sign of respect you can give them. And every single time you honor their need for space, their trust in your leadership just grows and grows.
So, what's the one single thread that connects every single item on this list? From yelling, to fake throwing a ball, to rushing an introduction. Well, it all comes down to one simple but really profound idea. Your dog is communicating with you, always. Every one of these unforgivable acts is a moment where we as owners fail to listen. We miss the flattened ears. We mistake a stress yawn for just being tired. We ignore the whale eye, where they show the whites of their eyes in fear or anxiety. They are constantly sending us signals, telling us exactly when they're uncomfortable, when they're stressed, or when they're afraid. And that's really the question this all leaves us with. If you recognize yourself in some of these points, and let's be honest, almost every owner will, it's not too late. The bond with the dog is incredibly resilient. But repairing it, strengthening it, requires that we finally start to pay attention. Your dog never stops talking. The only question is, are you ready to start listening?